Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Trading with OC. Hopefully, you guys are having a fantastic Monday. Things are kind of like moving to the downside. We'll see a couple of things in here, but as we were predicting, let's just start and refresh today. It's been working for us, just analyzing Monday, taking actions Monday night or Tuesday morning, and then taking some profits between Thursdays and Fridays, sometimes even Wednesday. But let's take a look at what we got in here and let's get it rolling. But before we get it rolling, let me get started with the most important part of the show, which is you guys. And we got Wix Wife Fine 89. What is up? Welcome. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time in here with me. We also have Shubi. What's up, Shubi? Thank you very much for being around. We also have Kelly Fan. What's up, Kelly Fan? What's up, Kelly? Hopefully you're having a fantastic day. I saw you today in the show, in the what is it, the afternoon show with Piper, in the Piper Academy. Great to see you there. Thank you very much for jumping in. Hey, what's up, Jen or Sensen? What's up, Sensen? Gen X Fairy. Godmother, welcome, welcome. Yeah, I know, I noticed, I noticed because of your what is it, profile picture. Love to see you around. Thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome, welcome. We also have KDGT. What's up, KDGT? Welcome, my friend. Great to have you. Drew, what's up, Drew? Welcome, just in time. All right, let's get it, guys, because we have a lot to go over. And, well, then, we're going to be spending today's class in analyzing the market. We're going to be potentially looking for breakouts, reposition ourselves, and, well, then, also planning for the worst case scenario. Finally caught the show. Yay! Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get it started. Let's go to the charts. All right, so this is what we got. This is a Bitcoin chart, and I've noticed that for some reason I don't have one setup that we talked about before. Let's go first to take a look at the spaghetti, and then we come back to this cleaner chart. All right, this is where we left out. And hold on, here comes the spaghetti. We just need to wait for a little second for it to load. And come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Is it not here? Yeah, it seems like it is not here. All right, so then it's in here. Yes, of course. It had to be here. So I think we were looking at the 30 minutes. Yeah, seems like we were looking at the 30 minutes. Something important is that we were looking for this area of continuation downwards. I remember going back up. If we burst through, we were looking for a retest continuation. If we rejected, which we did, right, we were looking for a further downside movement to then coming back up. So far, so good. Our entry have not yet been hit, all right? So it's somewhere around here. We have a breakout, retest, most likely continuation downwards, unless we can make it above the zero line. So making it above the zero line will be our target. If we can make it above the zero line and hold it there, I think we might have some structure here that will end up breaking up to the upside. All right, but so far, I mean, in fact, let's just rewind just a little bit. If we go to the 15 minutes, there we go, we can actually trade this. All right, so far it seems like we're having already a setup. All right, and let's go to a cleaner chart right now. There we go. I think this makes a much more sense, right? And then the first thing that we're going to be doing, as always, drawing our trend line right here. Remember, it doesn't need to be perfect as long as you're going through the most amount of tops that you can find right there. All right, so there we go. We have a higher low, we have a breakout, we have a retest right on that trend line, and then off we go. Right now, we're consuming that loud order block. All right, so it seems like we already have hit it twice, and the dynamic reactor is thinning out. So it doesn't seem to be, I mean, yes, it's a loud order block for the 15 minutes, but still the 4 hour doesn't seem to be that big of an order block. So we could absolutely break through, retest, and off we go, having an early flip to the upside. This most likely is going to create a 4 hour pattern. All right, but so far, that's what we're expecting. That's what we're waiting for. All right, But so far, we need to see what's going to be the deal. So far, I think the 15 minutes is going to be a good area to look on how it develops and then take a 4-hour trade. Let's go back to the 4 hours, all right? Because you're entering the 15 minutes, it's gone. There it is, finito, gone, goodbye, all right? Nonetheless, look at that. We have a flat or almost a flat top in here. Let me see if I can hide everything, including the indicators. There we go. And not this one. There we go. Can I have a flat top? Ooh, almost right there. All right, so if we have a flat top and we have a rising trend line, that would put us into a flat top triangle. Usually those triangles tend to break to the upside. Remember, it's a small percentage that get added to different structures. So far, that's what we got. We, of course, can start adding our support and resistances, order blocks, our VPVR, but we're going to be finding that we are right there on the resistance. We haven't actually consumed all of the volume that the order blocks have. Neither we've completely broken trend lines or support and resistances. Well, the only trend line that we, of course, have broken, it is this one, all right? But so far, we are on a let's still wait, because your entry was either right here or right there. After breakout, retest previous lows, right here on your support, on the 50% of your order block, and then off we go. If you ask me, no, I did not long that, so most likely we are on the same scenario. If you did long that, please let me know. Other than that, let's take a look at what am I expecting on the 4 hour. All right, so let's go to the 4 hour. All right, let's clean this up a little bit. Well, it's good enough. All right, good enough. And then let's draw a, there we go, a box in here or a channel in here. All right, perfect. So far, seems like a very nice rectangle. Yes, of course, maybe we are overshooting it here. Let me adjust that maybe like this. This is a box. Thank you for that. And this is a box. So what is this box telling us? This box is telling us, as we start bunching up at the top, that most likely we are gonna be breaking to the upside. All right, so we'll see how that momentum start piling up, and also we're gonna be seeing a little bit of that movement, or better yet, some indecision that starts rising. All right, something like that. When we got this, well, then we're just waiting for that zero line bounce, and most likely that's exactly when we're breaking the range. So are we seeing this right now? Not quite there yet. In fact, we have the liquidity, the sweep of the liquidity in the low parts as we were expecting. And remember, on the Bitcoin chart, here it is. Let's get it. We had, there we go, two possible scenarios. We nailed this entry. All right, perfect. That is absolutely perfect. And then let's just get rid of those. And then what's going to be the next step? Remember, breakout, and here it is, breakout, retest, continuation. Do we have a retest? Not quite a retest, but we absolutely had a pause. So we it's not that we retraced, but we corrected over time. Remember, there is many ways of correction. You can correct over time or you can correct over price. So we have an over time correction. And then what happens? Hitting some lows, some highs, sorry, right in here, right? Some highs, and then retracing. We were expecting that. So depending on how your oscillator were looking like, all right? So maybe a goose head and then a breakup, right? Something like that. Well, then in this case, we were expecting a breakout, retest, and then, or your retest right here, and then your continuation. That didn't happen, all right? What it did absolutely happen was the next plan, which was a V-shaped rejection here, all right? So once again, in the lower time frame, seems like we're a little bit bullish, all right? And 1 second here. All right, perfect. I think I got it. And then right here, what we got, it seems that we have some absorption. I mean, compared to this absorption, there's not much to envy out of that zone, all right? I mean, still we need to be a little bit careful because on the last wave pattern, so in this part in here, we haven't had that much of absorption if it's not all the way down there. And for some reason, I keep hearing the Discord going ding, ding, ding on me. So give me guys 1 second, please. Not sure when I'm getting that ding. Okay. And I hopefully already got it. All right, perfect. I think that's gonna be it. All right, so let's continue here. So since we haven't got this much of an absorption, this needs to mean something. Of course that we cannot say, hey, you know what? Let's wear our tinfoil hat and this is it, right? We're not saying that. We're not saying that. We just needed to see as a part of the puzzle. It means something, but how much does that mean, right? How important is that in the whole scheme of the range, right? So the answer is not that much right here, but it absolutely shows you that we could still now continue to the upside on the lower time frame. That's when we come back to the 15 minutes. All right, remember where we left out in here? Are we breaking the flat top? Actually, I think we are. All right, so where's gonna be very quick? Where's gonna be our entry if we break the flat top? We already have mentioned that breakout retest. All right, if we see a breakout and we close that 15-minute candle above that zero, or not zero line, this, what is it, 118,366 line, all right, we're gonna be looking for a maybe 1 or 2 candle retracement like this. Break out your retracement, 1 or 2 candle retracement, you see that? And then off we go to previous meaningful highs. All right, so it's not that big of a deal yet, all right? But looks like we are gonna be having that breakout, all right? So just heads up right now because it is happening live. That's pretty cool. Let's go back to this area right here and let's go to the 4 hours, all right? What would that mean? There we go, we have a green candle. That means that we could be having not only a higher low, right, and a higher high, but also means that now we could be looking at, and let me draw it up here. Let's get rid of those targets. You gotta be kidding me if you don't let me. There we go, much better. All right, so for some reason it didn't let me draw. So that will mean that most likely we could be having one hit above that 50% line. It's not quite exactly the 50% line, but remember the markets are perfectly imperfect. All right, so far so good. I think we're doing great. What do we need to do? Just wait. Right now it's gonna be waiting, but we already know the plan. Right? When are we gonna be taking action? So far, nothing here. Why? Because the target is all the way here. Where was our entry? Right there. You took it? Hopefully you did, because I was talking about this 3 weeks in a row. All right, and that played out very, very nicely. So you have 3 weeks to follow along. right? In every single class, I talked about that. Not 3 weeks, sorry, 2 weeks in a row. And I talked every single day about that. You're not bearish for tomorrow, see? Yes, I am a little bit, but that doesn't mean that today we could have a breakout in here. I'm just right now reading the charts, and Califan is talking about tomorrow we have a lot of things happening, right? We have a FOMC, we have already bad data, things are just looking bearish in the markets, in the altcoin sides, but still remember, we need to look for both case scenarios. Kelly, here's my take. When I feel bearish, I look for the bullish scenario. When I mean, of course, both scenarios, right? But I also try to spend a little bit more time in the opposite. Why? Because I might not be as prepared for the outcome, right? And believe me when I tell you that has saved my ass quite a lot of times, right? So this is kind of like a little piece of the puzzle when I tell you expecting unexpected, right? So everything is bearish, but we're having a bullish bounce. That is the fact, right? What could we be maybe seeing tomorrow? Because this is not the end of the story. Remember that we still have right here, we have a resistance. What if we reject from that resistance? Yeah. And then we have an accelerated break to the downside. Perfect. We've talked about that on the previous class, and oh, there it is. Remember, not only we have a lower position entry, a half of an entry right there, right here. Remember, we have called out our next possible entry at 116. So I know I'm talking about bouncing up, but that's because I already have planned for if it goes low, right? If it goes lower, there's my alert. 1. And there's my alert. And let me show this because I actually did not place it here. And then finally, let's add my other alert right around here. All right. And we have our possible retracement calculation. So far, so good. OC is king of the indicators. Thank you so much. But Kelly, let me ask you this: was that explanation, I don't know, was that good enough? Let me know. I'm interested on if you have any other question or further debate this point on, like, if I'm bearish, yes I am, because I don't think that tomorrow we're gonna have good data. But what if today's we have a pump and then we can maybe start locating for a short, right? So just let me know. So talking about that, if we could be having, and this is where the actual prediction comes in place, right? What if we have a breakout, all right? Or if we go high in here, the first thing that we're going to be looking for, it is this rejection at the top, all right? Let's add our alert right there. In fact, let's go a little lower. There we go. My alert's coming at 120.019, all right? And then I might be able to maybe long it till the previous high, going for the retracement, all right? And then I still need, and let me just get rid of this spaghetti because it's just getting so obnoxious. All right, I still need to prove if I have anything here other than my previous high, all right? So I'll do that in a second. Let me just first complete what I believe is gonna be the structure. Remember, always go for structure. And what is the structure? Support and resistance and trend lines, all right? So right here, what we have here, a trend line. If we start measuring the other point, we will have a possible, there we go, look at that, high. There we go, another trend line, but at the top. So we will have a broadening wedge, all right, or a megaphone. All right. Having had that, now that we have the basics, let's go for the rest of the structure, right? So it's not about the breakout, your first possible short. It's about your retest in case we break, your next possible short, and then your next possible long. All right? The point is, how long will take this to play it out right before or after the announcement? Buy the rumor, sell the news. All right? I don't know any rumors so far. I haven't heard of, like I might be out of the play, and this is part of me trying to compensate for ignorance, right? Remember, there's nothing wrong with that word. It's just ignorance. It's lack of knowledge. So what you do when you have lack of knowledge, you do, all right, can I get that knowledge? Yes or no? How good would that knowledge be? All right, how could that information be? Can I maybe substitute it for something that is more equally or more better or way better? In this case, there is, which is technical analysis. There's another say, show me this chart and I tell you the news. All right. So what am I seeing in the charts? I'm seeing in Bitcoin 15 minutes some bullish momentum. We haven't had it confirmed just yet. Look at that. Remember, we are looking for that breakout retest. But so far, first candle, not going through, rejection. I thought we were going through, but that's why we wait for confirmation. Second candle, going back down, lower. If it keeps going lower, perfect. We already have the plan set up since the last week, right? What is that plan? Coming back down, forming back up to the 4 hours. Our entry at, oh, come on, where is it? 116 for our first possible entry. Always looking for that flip of the rib. If that happens there, perfect. If it happens here, much better, right? All right, so let's start taking, hey, what's up, Duality C? Hello, what's up, brother? Welcome. All right, so Kelly, let me know if that is completes the analysis. Let me know if you want to go a little bit farther. I'll be more than happy to go because I think this is going to be important, especially for tomorrow. I mean, you have a very strong point, which tomorrow, it's going to be very bearish. All right, so we'll see. So far, I think we have figured out upper plan, downward plan, right? If things go up or if things goes down, well, we have it covered, right? We just need to fine tune as we go. All right, so far. Let's go and just try to fix or pinpoint this stuff, right? Do I have anything else other than this previous high? Yes, I do, which is my megaphone trend line right here, all right? But let's just quit using manual tools. I want to use actual mathematic geometry tools, right, that take those numbers and project lines to that, because my freehand drawings, they're already there and we already have gone through. All right, so let's go and take a look at what else do we have. Do we have a support resistance? Yes, we have a resistance. Not only a resistance, a liquidity point. All right, perfect. Our first area for short, that is a good area. Our next area for short, look at that, pretty good. We have a very bullish, still a resistance, all right, liquidity zone. All right, let's take a look at what else we have in here. Well, not much on the predictive ranges zone. Oh, well, no, my bad. Remember that we have two of those. This one is a little higher, but this one is a little more constrained. Let me bring out my resources. There we go. And look at that. We are very close to this one right there. Could we maybe be overshooting? Maybe. Which means that if I can get that short, excuse me, I just ate a bag of Doritos with my wife, and it was delicious. So, and I got the hiccups. All right, so let's go for that short maybe. Let's short it somewhere around here. Still need to pinpoint that entry, right? But somewhere around here, let's go a little low, and let's my stop loss above this high, and then I do see this resistance, and then I protect my short with that setup. All right. What else am I going to be doing? I'm just for the sake of there we go. Just for the sake of cleanliness, let's just move this to here, and we are very close to 101. All right. What does that mean? That means I can adjust this slightly and then get a straight one, all right, and then jump in with one position, all right? It's not that bearish, but what if I better divide my entry? That I actually could be flexing my position to the downside, but shorting a very bullish trend maybe go against me. So remember, I'm only risking one full position divided in two. All right, so 50 and 50. Let's mark that out. All right, so right here, 50%. Let's go as always, 1/2. And then right here, another 1/2. And since I'm already putting that 1/2 and 1/2, I can extend my stop loss. Where to? I would say it will be safe to say between these two, because doing that will be crazy, even for a 1/2 on 1/2. Why? Because if I get a 1/2 on 1/2, I still don't get a 1 right here. You see that? So by aiming at the center, I get a 123. I'm just not forcing this to play out. I already have gone through the rest of my other indicators, and let's remember one of those. One of those, it was my other predictive range. And guess where is it? There we go, right here. So I can just hit it that way, or just a little bit more and compensate for maybe that volatility, which this is what I'm trying to do. So it's not because I just want to, like make it work. I'm putting in numbers that they just come out of my sleeve, but actually looking at my indicators, right? And taking advantage of that little disparity between those two, right? To give me more flexibility. Right, so look at how I use that zone, look at how I divide my entry, and look at how I use my predictive ranges to also scale up my stop loss, always taking into consideration the 1/2 and 1/2 entry, as if I goes up, I need to be above 1 in here, because at the end of it all, I'm risking a 1 full position. All right, so hopefully that plays out, hopefully that makes sense. So that way, we're gonna try to protect ourselves on this upcoming short. Once again, guys, breaking this will be the all-time highs. All right, when we have an all-time breakout, I do expect a retracement, but we never know how big of a breakout we're gonna get. That is dangerous. That is very dangerous. All right, so trying to show the all-time highs almost never plays out very good. So that's why we're going into this setup, and we're trying to make the best that we got with what we got. All right, so the best result for what we got. How do you know tomorrow it's going to be bearish? And if you know, don't you think it's already priced in? Maybe it's way today was about. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, KTGT, you are absolutely right. It's not that I know. Go check out the morning market report. We talked about all of the conditions. Like, for example, the depth, it's already through the roof, right? We're breaking new records. And right after those records, we have had, we are more in depth, or even more in shares per depth that we have almost ever been. Twice as much as a .com bubble, right? So that is alarming. What would the FOMC should be doing? Cutting rates? I don't think so, right? So is that I know that it's gonna be a bad day? Not really. It's not that I know. I'm still speculating, right? You always miss the morning market report. Oh, I know, my friend. Don't worry, but it's recorded. You can check it out. You can also maybe skip to just watch the news portion. That is like a 10-minute, 20-minute section right after the hey, welcome, so on and so forth, and you'll get the concentrated news setup, right? So that's how we are, not knowing but speculating that tomorrow is gonna be bearish, right? So buy the rumor, sell the news. Is it already factoring? I think could be, right? But what would that be? Buy the rumor in this case, if it's gonna be, if we're gonna be going high, we're already late to position ourselves, right? So what is it going to be? If we're going lower, I already have a possible entry divided in two. If we're going higher, I already have a possible entry divided in two. So, did I miss my opportunity? Yes. Why? Because of ignorance. What signals lack of knowledge, right? So at this point, I feel that my lack of knowledge, right, might not lead me to actually take a decision. Therefore, if I'm not sure, I just give it some time, let the market show its hand, prepare for what I'm expecting, and prepare twice for what I'm not expecting. Does that make sense? Yeah, so tomorrow I think that's gonna be a big one. I'm thinking about becoming an early bird. Oh man, oh Kelly, I've tried, but I cannot be earlier than the morning market report. In fact, sometimes I mean a little late because I'm still like finished up with my morning routine, which is just waking up. All right, just kidding. No, I start up at 7 my time. If it's 6 your time, it will be 5 my time. But 7 a.m. is not that bad. It's not that bad. Right, wifey? No, she's concentrated. She's looking at her phone. All right, so let's go and well, I just want to get this out of the way. KDGT. Any questions so far? Let me know. Kelly, Kellyphant, Duality, Weeks Life, KDGT, Shubi. Anyone else have also a question about tomorrow and how are we compensating the lack of knowledge? Because our positioning point was right here and I did not took it. All right. Why? Well, just wasn't around. All right. We still have 20 minutes. Let's go and check out how's the rest of the market. Because tomorrow we might be able to catch some good positions. Hail Mary positions, unexpected positions. I think this is the actual time to bring up one of my favorite tools, right? If you guys remember, I was keeping this away from you throughout the course because it was such a powerful tool that it needed its own chapter, all right? And we did it last episode. The last episode was my falling knife strategy. Remember that? Are you doing any deep buying? Oh, absolutely. I'm thinking of. And this is exactly what I'm rolling into. So what is going to be one of my secret tools? It is a free tool. Remember, it is a volume profiler, bar, magnifier, order block by Jacob Maccabee. Let me just, it is a free tool. If you just, what is it about this script? It's going to take you to that script, to this source. Let me right click it, copy, and then just paste it in here. All right, so you guys should be able to have its direct linked. My configuration is just as default 710 closed, and that's it. That's it. Absolutely, AVAX. I'll do it right after this one. I want to go over Ethereum, and then we'll take a look at AVAX. I promise. All right. So far, where is my setup implying or showing me? Well, look at that. How be there? Where is my first stop? Right here. Come on, really? And we know that. Where is my second stop? Right here. And where is my half of an entry? Right there. Look at that. Should I be adjusting this? I don't know. I should, based on this indicator, but remember I'm going after confluence. In fact, remember my alert is slightly above where my point of entry is at. And my point of entry is actually not 112. It is 110. Almost nailing this one in here. And you can see it, 110 for my next entry, but I have an early alert. All right. So there we go. I think where we could be aiming at that. Let's go to Ethereum. I want to check out Ethereum because we have a new high in here. We did actually, we're expecting looking for that short. Remember that we nailed that short. We move our stop to entry and then stop us out at profits, right? That was on the 30 minutes. Let's check that out. Remember, this is our setup. Perfect. We did enter and exit very quickly. Let me get rid of this, right? Even this one. Let's unlock this. And where is it? There it is. All right. Let's go back in time a little bit, or in time frames, because seems to me that we have a swing failure pattern. Acceptance back. Look at these areas right here. Look at this support right there. All right. So we only need to have an acceptance back right down here to maybe have that swing failure pattern, or maybe even, let's call it a, a double top. Where are we going to be expecting for our first possible entry? At the support of whatever is happening here. What pattern do we have? We have an M pattern, right? Let's see if I can do that. Maybe I can draw that one. Where is it? Head and shoulders. Not really. Where is it? Come on. Well, whatever. Let's just not waste any time on this unless I have it in this one. Nope. All right, whatever. The point is that if this is an M pattern, your support is, look at here, support, support, support. Our neckline will be somewhere around here, right? And if we just look at our VRVP right here, our volume profile bar magnifier order block, where is it? Right here. Very close, all right? So maybe overshoot, bounce all the way down here, and whatever happens, we could be longing it from here, and if we have a rejection, we short it right here, or we just head switch, get a stop loss, and if it goes up, perfect, we continue on the breakout, or if we have a rejection, we short it from there, creating either a head and shoulders or a dead cat bounce, all right? I know that might be a little bit of a lot, so let's go in pieces. All right, so let's go by parts. The first thing that I'm looking at is that we're losing this area. Perfect. The next thing that I'm is Aisha bouncing right now. I'm not sure. All right, I'll look at that in a second. So the first thing will be acceptance back in here. If we have acceptance here, I think we're going to our next area. Let's right click. Let's lock it. Let's once again right click. Let's add an alert. Perfect. That's it. Let's bring up the rest of our indicators. Let's see if we have some support or resistances there. Well, we have a trend line right now. Was not aware of that. So shout out to Chart Prime to showing me. There we go. A trend line that I was not aware. Great. Let's bring up our oscillator. Let's go for our linear regression oscillator. So we have very few volume in here. Let's bring up something else in here. Let's bring up our RSI prime. And so far, we don't have tiny candles. Not bouncing so far. So do we have an opportunity to break? Yes, and I think we're going to break to the downside. All right, perfect. So far, so good. Let's just see. So far, we need to give it a little more time in here to see if we're breaking. And if we're breaking, perfect. I think we can get that movement to the downside in here. If I think that I'm breaking it, why don't I short it here? Because I don't have confirmation. All right. If it keeps going up, well, then I have the opportunity to BOS this part. So if that is the case, I'm going to add an alert right here. All right. To POS that continuation. Do I think it's going to continue? No. Do I think this could be a fake out? Yes. Can I still maybe make a trade out of this? Absolutely. So I will do that by looking at my predictive ranges. So look at that. Perfect. If I have a break of structure right here, I'm going to be looking for maybe next target here or next target there. And then moving my stop to entry, taking some trades earlier or take some profits earlier. And then if I get acceptance back, I'm then shorting it all the way down there. But so far, we're not there. We're just planning for the possible next scenario. What I think is going to happen is that we're going to be hitting this support. So my next entry is going to be right here. And I think that by tomorrow, we might have the dynamic reactor very close. So once again, I'm going to be adding my alert slightly above. And there we go. Let's wrap it up today with AVAX. All right, so AVAX. Let's add it here. And AVAX is a little bit more of the same. It's actually exactly the same. So let's go for that trend line. I do see a parabolic movement. So first of all, let me draw my trend and then get rid of everything. All right. So what's going to happen? I think we're going to keep going downwards. We have a bearish divergence, a reversal. We're coming to the zero line. We need to wait one or more two candles. If we start losing the zero line, finito, out, dead, bye-bye, chupi. That's Mayan. All right. So I think we could be going lower. How low? Well, then you got my secret weapon right there. Let's add a couple of other indicators in here, right? Support and resistance. I have a support. Yes. Where is it? Very close to my trend line. Where is going to be my next support zone? Right here. Can I long that? Yes, but I would not be recommending that other than if we have a flip of the ribbon confirm. All right. Next support. Where is my secret weapon? And then with the support, dynamic reactor and your liquidity zone. I mean, I think that right now we got it very clear. What is the bunch? Where is it bunching up, right? So a possible entry for a long somewhere around that area. All right. Hey, Trade Tuition, what's up, brother? Welcome, welcome. All right. So what else do we have in here? Predictive ranges. Well, we broke that. There we go. As always, look at that, beautiful. Broke that purple, and then the next thing that we try to do is go and hit the blue one. In this case, we quite not hit it, but we did that movement. That was a perfect movement. Coming back down, I think right here is where we start looking for, and let me start hiding everything, for our golden line. This is the first one. We have the next support right here, and finally, where is our next golden line? Right there. So again, area of resistance right here. Let me push it above, and another area of support right here, another area of support right there. Am I gonna be longing this one? No, until I have a confirmed bounce. Am I gonna be longing this one? Most likely yes, but again, until I have a confirmation for the flip of the ribbon. All right. My pleasure, Kenley, Key and K-Y-L-K-Y-I-N. Butcher it. Sorry, not that bad, but there we go. All right, guys. We already know the dangers that we're heading tomorrow. All right. For that, we have analyzed Bitcoin to the upside, Bitcoin to the downside. We have our possible setups. Tomorrow, be an early bird, do your due diligence, take a look at a couple of news, all right? Check out the FOMC meeting time, and I think that will give you a possible trade Hail Mary target. I think things might not be going the way that we expected. Having said, I think that we're going to be seeing a drop, but also a V-shaped recovery, and then a further continuation to the downside, all right? It's not 100% sure. It's not even a 20% sure. I'm just speculating on what I believe is going to happen. Regardless of what I believe, the market don't move because I believe anything or because you believe anything, right? They move because of macroeconomy and people buying and sell. So that's why we have prepared. If it goes lower, we have our entry points. We divide that into a half. And if we go higher, we have also our setup entries and divide it into a half. Be quick to change your mind if we have a breakout retest and the retest holds. Remember, that is going to be a continuation. If you are not sure, remember, you can always hedge the market. Not financial advice. I'm just trying to get you prepared. And so laying all of the tools that you have to your disposal to make a banger day tomorrow. All right, guys. Most likely tomorrow we're going to have a couple of trades. Hopefully we do. And most likely Friday we're going to be taking some profits. So Jesus says 77, what's up? My pleasure, my friend. Hey, user Dave, thank you for coming by, my friend. You just made it. Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for coming back. KDGT, thank you for the stream. My pleasure, my friend. In Trade Tuition, thank you for stopping by, guys. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.